In Washington, D.C., a ring of steel is being prepared around the city as potentially hundreds of thousands of protesters arrive to try to spoil the Trump inauguration. Mr. Trump will be sworn in as the 45th President of the United States and will also have plenty of supporters, but after one of the most divisive campaigns ever, a record turnout is expected the day after for an historic women's march against the new president. North America correspondent Connor Duffy reports.
The battle lines have been drawn. Thousands of protesters and police have been flown in and are preparing for a weekend of drama. All sides had said they wanted to avoid violence, but running brawls broke out across the city. In the run-up to tomorrow's inauguration, protesters have been in full voice.
Good. What you got? What you got? What is it, Alice? Alice? What's going on?
At a local dive bar in Washington, D.C., Granny is the unlikely leader of the revolution. 84-year-old Alice Donahue is the front woman of funk band Granny and the Boys, who are belting out the classic protest song, What's Going On? All of the money is going to fund the Women's March starting on Donald Trump's first day in office. The gig is sold out, and Granny has a message for Mr. Trump.
Women should be recognised and most of all respected. If they're not respected, then something's very wrong, because every human being had a mother, and that's a woman.
We have a long way to go, and we have a big fight ahead of us.
This is just one of hundreds of similar events across America. Protesters are taking to the streets even before the president has taken office. As many as 200,000 women are expected to take to the streets on the weekend in a history-making protest.
Do you worry about there being violence?
No, I don't think so, because I think women are not the violent ones. I'm sorry, but I don't think so. I think a lot of the others, I'm not knocking men, but I don't think women create wars.
I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married.
President-elect Donald Trump's relationship with women's groups reached a nadir during the election when a secret recording was leaked of him appearing to boast about sexual assault. He dismissed it as locker room talk.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want. Were you concerned about some of the language that came out during the election campaign?
I'd rather it had been another way. I'm 84 years old. If I'd have used one of those words in my house, I'd have had my bottom spanked. So I'm not used to that. You know, the English language is beautiful. Use it properly.
As a professional woman working in the United States, I want to make sure that future generations have the same opportunities.
And you'll be able to download all of these and print them for free, like digitally, just in case.
Across town, another local business is giving up the takings to take on Trump. Local artist Katie Garth is holding half-hourly classes to train protesters in how to screen print.
If we're being realistic about the types of things that we can expect to happen during a Trump administration, I think it's incredibly important that we all stay engaged, and my guess is that we will continue to be outraged by what they do.
It's no surprise Washington, D.C. is at the heart of the anti-Trump movement. At the last election, more than 90% of voters cast their ballot for Hillary Clinton. The protesters are promising this is just the start of 4 years of action. Donald Trump, though, won't be fazed. He's got the prize he sought, and he says a record number of supporters will also be arriving. Police, Army and the National Guard have joined forces to form a ring of steel around the city. With protesters and supporters, they're expecting as many as 1 million people. And with tensions already high, they're worried about security.
Critically important, especially in this day and age with what we've seen going on around the world. Anytime there's a large gathering, not just in this country, but in many of our countries, security is a major concern. Secret Service, the U.S. Secret Service is the lead for security. As the Joint Task Force National Capital Region, I do provide some capabilities to the Secret Service.
As As dollars and people begin to pour in for the firestorm of protests planned for this weekend, back at the Showtime bar, Granny has some words of wisdom for her younger comrades.
There is power in numbers and there is power in majority, but it has to be the way they present themselves. Just to be angry isn't going to achieve anything, because that's what we've been dealing with all through the election. So march peacefully, put your point across, and be safe.